So in the most recent chapters of One Piece, we saw Vegapunk die. Kizaru shot him through the chest, Saturn pierced his body, and Oda even drew X's on his eyes when we got the Egghead map. But what if I told you that there's a chance that he might actually come back to life? But not in the way you might expect. So over on my main channel, I host discussions with my good friend Parvision every week about One Piece. We sit down for about 2 to 4 hours and just have some fun with the chapter. And within this madness, sometimes we have a spark of brilliance. And that spark is exactly what I want to share with you guys today. Since the minute we arrived here on Egghead Island, we were pretty convinced that Dr. Vegapunk was going to die one way or the other. Mainly because he has 7 bodies in total, so at least one of them is going to have to kick the bucket. So with that mindset, we went into every chapter over-analyzing every single detail. And in the very beginning of Egghead Island, we were introduced to something kind of odd. We saw a recycle cur, the recycle dog of Egghead Island. And since we were joking around at the time, we said, hey, what if Dr. Vegapunk transfers his consciousness to this dog? With that one sentence right there, I may have lost a couple of people, but hear me out, because it's only gonna get weirder from here. So as we started progressing through Egghead Island, me and Par started making these really goofy observations about how Dr. Vegapunk and this whole Egghead Island incident is somewhat reminiscent of Jimmy Neutron, which is a cartoon that originally aired here in the West. And it's about this boy genius and his pet dog, Goddard. Every episode, they go around getting themselves in trouble and making kooky creations to get themselves out of it. And in the verse, Jimmy Neutron is the world's smartest scientist. So we kind of took this connection, we kind of ran with it, and we started looking into it a little bit more. And not only are Dr. Vegapunk and Jimmy Neutron intelligent, but they also have similar head shapes as well. And whenever Jimmy Neutron comes up with an idea, he has a brain blast where we zoom into his brain, which made me immediately think of the Nomi Nomi no Mi. And then Par started looking into it a little bit more, and apparently there's an episode where Jimmy Neutron happens to create 6 clones of himself, just like Dr. Vegapunk. And, not to mention, one of the clones ended up betraying the rest and was actually the evil one. So, at that point, we kind of took this and ran with it. And we even made other connections with Professor Calamitous, which is one of the main villains of Jimmy Neutron. And he's essentially a perfectionist that can never finish what he creates. And we also correlated that to Dr. Vegapunk and how Dr. Vegapunk himself is a perfectionist, and how in the scrapyard, we're introduced to a bunch of inventions that don't exactly hit the mark, just like Dr. Calamitous. And it gets even weirder than this because there's an episode called The Great Egg Heist, which just immediately sounded the alarms because here on Egghead Island, we have something called the Egghead Island Incident. So we're like, okay, that's a little bit weird, you know? That's a little bit strange. And then Par pointed out that in the very first Jimmy Neutron movie, we're introduced to space invaders that kind of look like the space monster we first see here on Egghead Island. Of course, they do look different, but the eyes are kind of the same. So yeah, I don't know, man. The connections between Jimmy Neutron and Dr. Vegapunk are pretty crazy when you really think about it. So, you know, like one coincidence, sure, no big deal, but multiple coincidences, I don't know, man. It's kind of a head scratcher. Like, wait, like, did Oda really draw some influence from Jimmy Neutron? So we kind of looked deep into it, and we realized that Jimmy Neutron actually did air in Japan. It has a Japanese dub. So it's like, yo, I think there could be something here, which ties back to what I initially said in the beginning of this video. Maybe Dr. Vegapunk isn't dead, but instead, he gets brought back to life within the recycle cur. So the main reason why we came to this conclusion in the first place, you know, but before we came to the whole Jimmy Neutron thing, was mainly because the recycle cur had a really odd introduction. So when we first got here to Egghead Island, you know, we met Atlas, we met Lilith, I think we met a couple of other Vegapunks at the time too, and we also met the recycle cur. The recycle cur didn't say anything. Atlas didn't even talk about the recycle cur. In the anime, Atlas actually, you know, tells us what it is, what it does here, and we have a little goofy scene where the recycle cur chases Luffy, Bonnie, and Chopper. In the manga, we didn't get that. Instead, Oda simply just gave us an introduction panel. Like, they gave us the same introduction panel that we get for main characters of the series, like Rob Lucci, like Kaido, like Luffy, and the Straw Hats, and other Yonkos and stuff. So it's like, wait, why did this recycle cur get an introduction panel? Not even the ancient robot got an introduction panel. And that one small detail right there really got us thinking, and that's how we came up with the idea that Vegapunk will become the Recycle Cur. Or, you know, his brain will be linked to this small dog right here. The reason why this perfectly fits in with the Jimmy Neutron connections is because if you look at Goddard, one of the key things about Goddard is that his head is actually just a brain. And I'm like, wait a minute, you know, like Vegapunk, he's all about the no me, no me, no me. You know, he has punk records. I feel like he could connect this dog to the brainwaves and take over it. And you might be wondering, what are the benefits of this, right? Why would Vegapunk willingly become a dog? So I see two routes. I see a route where Vegapunk wants to become the dog, and I see a route where Vegapunk doesn't want to become the dog. But before I talk about that though, might I just say that Vegapunk, one of his key traits is that he always has his tongue just wagging in the air. And you know, I don't know about you guys, but that's typically a trope you see in cartoon dogs. And not to mention real life dogs do that too. So the two routes that I want to talk about. The route where Vegapunk wants to become a dog. I feel like that would be the perfect way for Vegapunk to fly under the radar. The main reason why Cypher Pole, the Gorse, and Admiral Kizaru came here to Egget Island was to kill Dr. Vegapunk. Of course, there was a lot more stuff they wanted along the way, but Dr. Vegapunk was the main mission. So if Dr. Vegapunk were to hide his existence in the form of a dog, that'd be pretty good. The world government would have nobody to hunt, they would think he's dead, and hey, I think we could even get a really nice and emotional scene if he ever reunites with Kizaru, where Kizaru's saying, hey, I'm so sorry I did this, right? Like, I feel like there's a lot that could come out of Vegapunk surviving as a dog and wanting to become a dog. So now, on the opposite end, what if Vegapunk never wanted to become a dog? Could this be an accidental mind transference? I believe so, and that's simply because of the way that the Recycle Cur was brought up in the first place. It is known as a dog that just eats trash. It loves eating scrap metal. So it does make me wonder if the Recycle Cur will somehow eat something really important. Like, imagine we get on the giant ship that's heading to Elbaf, and then Atlas is like, hey, don't worry, Dr. Vegapunk is dead, but to bring him back to life, all we have to do is take out this SIM card or USB chip and put it in a new body and he'll be good as new. But before they insert that chip into a new body, the Recycle Cur eats it because it's considered trash. I know this whole idea in theory seems a little bit crazy, but from a narrative standpoint, I feel like this could benefit Oda as well if he does want to keep Dr. Vegapunk alive in the future. Because think of it like this, right? Vegapunk escapes with the Straw Hat Pirates and they set sail to Elbaf. Then what? Right? Like, every problem that the Straw Hats or the Giants or anyone would have, Vegapunk would be able to fix almost immediately with his inventions. He's just that smart. The guy needs to be capped. He's already being capped by money, right? That's why he joined the world government, because he needed the funding. So you could argue that the Straw Hat Pirates and the Giants of Elbaf wouldn't be able to utilize him that well, and I think that's pretty dandy. But I think another great way to nerf Vegapunk and his intelligence would be to put him in the body of a dog. I feel like that could be a very plausible handicap, and if Vegapunk doesn't perform that well in the future, Oda could always fall back on, oh, but guys, he's a dog, he can't do much, right? Because even here on Egget Island, I've seen a lot of people, you know, myself included, I'm not going to exclude myself from this one, but there have been instances here on Egget Island where people have questioned Vegapunk's intelligence, right? Oh, he's the world's smartest man? Well, why didn't he figure out the traitor situation sooner? Why didn't Vegapunk have a failsafe for this? So I feel like the best way for people to avoid that feeling in the future would be to have Vegapunk be nerfed. So yeah, I do think there is a lot of merit to this theory and idea. And just to show you guys one more brief connection, but when Vegapunk was first introduced here on Egget Island, he kept on saying the word Quasar. And what Par found out was that Jimmy Neutron was named Quasar as well. But yeah, hey, you guys make sure to go check out Par's video if you like this video. He went really in deep with this. He can make better points than I can. He has the whole thing listed out from head to toe, whereas I'm just the guy who's kind of shooting from the hip with whatever comes to my head first. I'm sure there's 1,000 points that I missed that Par will touch on in his video, so like I said, please go check him out down below. And thank you so much for watching this. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Even if you don't like the theory, hopefully you can see that there are some weird coincidences here. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Signing out.